Hello and welcome to the next episode of Scottish Football Matters with me, Lorenzo, and my good pal Murray.
Yeah,
This week we're going to be discussing the weekend's fixtures in the Premiership. We'll discuss how the fans of both sets of the Glasgow sides are affecting the players on the park and things off the park. We'll also discuss the incoming Rangers manager now that we found out about it tonight, and
yeah,
we will also discuss the Euro ties coming up, and we'll give our predictions later on.
cool.
How are you doing, Murray? How
Yeah,
you doing, mate?
not bad considering again it was same old Rangers, but we'll get on to that. But I think we should just start with St Mirren Aberdeen. That was the one game I actually got spot on prediction wise, but it wasn't without drama though, I have to
Mm.
say. But
Aye.
I'll give you my opinion of the kind of three major talking points. I think I'll go actually the wrong order. I'm going to go backwards, right? Because I think the winning goal was really special from the striker.
Yeah.
What a lovely touch. I think you could possibly fault the keeper angle wise. I think he gets it all wrong, but I think the boy does brilliant to score the goal.
Hmm.
I think the red card is a red card. I think although he's getting fouled about three times and that other boy did deserve a boot, you can't kick out like that. You just
No.
can't. And also it's high and dangerous. You know what I mean? It was, I don't think anyone can have any arguments with that. The St Mirren disallowed goal was a real talking point for me because I can see by the letter of the law, right, that the boy is offside when that first cross comes in, right?
Hmm.
But he doesn't touch the ball. He doesn't. I don't think he stops the keeper coming for it because the defender heads it away. And I think it's a really dubious one because to me, how many times do we see a striker, right, who's standing 2, 3 yards offside and he only becomes active when he gets involved?
Mm.
Now, I
Yeah.
know some will say that the guy's standing in between the defender and the goalkeeper, but you're allowed to.
I know.
And for
Yeah,
me, he
exactly.
makes no attempt to
That's
head
your
the
job.
ball. And obviously, another phase of play happens, and St Mirren score a nice wee header. And I actually feel quite bad for Gorgic because I think it was his 150th game, and it would have been a nice moment to score. And I think it's a real turning point because obviously St Mirren score that goal for me. I think they go on and win the game because we know that Aberdeen are a bit like Rangers.
Probably.
They're quite fragile.
Hmm. Yeah.
What did you think of the disallowed goal? Because I can understand why it was disallowed because I can see that the boy is offside.
Yeah. But
I think
see if
it's
you're not interfering
debatable
with
whether he's
play.
interfering. Yep.
If you're not interfering, I think the goal should stand
Yeah, I just
in that
didn't think it was.
situation.
I don't think it was. I just don't think it. See when a goal gets given on the pitch, right? I'm sick of this VAR jumping in when it's not an obvious error, and I don't think that.
Hmm.
I don't think that's particularly obvious that he's interfering with play.
No,
Now,
it's
what I
not.
do think is, I think that possibly we should be bringing the ref's attention to it and say, well, did you see the guy? Did you think he was interfering with play? But to me, every time you see somebody go over the monitor, it's almost like change your mind. You need to change your mind. And I just think I think St Mirren are a wee bit hard done by, if
It's a
I'm
bit.
honest.
The VAR thing's a bit robotic in terms of you're right. As soon as they get called to the monitor, you know they're going to change their mind. You know, it
And I
happens all
just
the
think
time.
with that one, it's a real. I don't think it's clear and obvious that that's a refereeing error.
Hmm.
I don't think it's an obvious because it's not an offside where you go, all right, he's offside, he's 2 yards ahead, and he's tapped the ball in. He isn't a player who's scored the goal. He isn't a player who's impacted the goalkeeper coming for the ball. Yes, you could say he was near the defender who headed it away, but God, at a set piece, aren't you always going to be near someone?
Aye, of
It's like
course. You're going to be
it just
marking somebody, or you're going to be
to
trying
me,
to run in and
I think we're actively trying to see goals get disallowed now. And but either way,
trying to ruin the game.
if we're trying to be honest, though, great result for Aberdeen. They've backed up the win against Dundee with another win. Obviously, we'll see how they get on in the European game on Thursday, but just another good result for Jimmy Keelan. He needs it.
Aye,
Uh,
gets them off the bottom. Gets them off the bottom.
yeah. If we go
Yeah.
on to Motherwell Falkirk, I think that's probably the biggest. No, I was going to say the biggest shock of the weekend. It's the biggest shock of Saturday because Motherwell for the first half hour, maybe first 45 minutes, were outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Should have been about 4 or 5 up.
Yeah.
But then we're terrible in the second half. And
they've been like that in most of their
you
games
could
this season.
argue-
They've played really
you could
well, but they
argue-
can't score the goals.
You could argue that Falkirk deserved it in the end because they did really well. A bit similar to what happened to Ibrox for me, like a really good first half for one team that wasn't backed up in the second half. But I think fair play to Falkirk, because I did say at the start of the season I was worried that they wouldn't get much on the road, and that's a big 3 points because they got the point against Rangers, and a lot of times when you get a point against Rangers or Celtic, you find that they don't back it up. So I think fair play to them. And Motherwell, to me, seem like this sort of team that are just going to be a wee bit yo-yo. What did you think of their disallowed goal? Because I thought that was another harsh one. Because to me, the boy uses his body quite well. So I used to think the boy used his body quite well, but you could argue that he does step on the guy's toe. But
ever so slightly, but it's no.
You've seen the Motherwell getting a penalty.
Is it clear? Is it clear and obvious again?
Motherwell got a penalty at Celtic Park because somebody stood on his toe.
That's right.
You need to be consistent, and I suppose consistency, if that's a penalty, then I suppose that is a foul. If we're saying that he's stepping on somebody's toe is a foul, the game's fucked. But
I know.
then we need to be consistent, and I suppose they were consistent. They disallowed it because they deem it a foul.
Because unless it's a stamp, and if he's accidentally stood on his toe, it's not a foul then.
His foot to spin. He hasn't done anything to. But either way, Motherwell will be disappointed, but Falkirk, fair play. If we got to Hibs, really good win, 4-0. I don't think it was a 4-0 game.
Very good.
Even though they had a lot of other chances, but Livy had a lot too. And I think when you get 2 late goals, like Hoylett did, it can sometimes make the game look a bit wider than it was.
One-sided, yeah.
But I have to say, another good goal in this game. I thought the first goal was really good. Uses his body really, but in fact, it really reminded me of like an Alfredo Morelos goal from his early point at Rangers, where his first touch was good. He powered in and he didn't think about trying to pick a spot. He just put his foot for it, and I quite like that because sometimes strikers are too much finesse and I need to find the corner. Fucking whack it and see how it goes.
That's it. Just have a go. I think
that boy Cleedy could be doing this in more games because him and Bowie look good together. I know it meant Boyle missing out, but Boyle's getting older now. He can.
I was going to say that Boyle's getting on a bit.
So I thought, good result. On to Ibrox, I think it's kind of similar to Motherwell, Falkirk, except Rangers got a late equaliser. But first half, Rangers should be 4, 5, 6.
Probably should be out of sight, yeah.
It was that dominant, but you know what happens when you only score 1 goal, and I have to say, what a goal in the first 2 goals. In fact,
absolute belter. That's my goal of the weekend, by the way.
I actually think all 4 goals in this game are really good, but I think Taverniers and Trapanovsky's are a bit less good than Asgard and Sibbald. I think Asgard and Sibbald are the best 2 goals of the weekend by a country mile.
Absolute cracker, yeah.
But Asgard's run is brilliant. His feet were really good, and finally he takes a shot, because sometimes I've seen him do this and then he doesn't take the shot, or he tries to find a wee pass. What I would say is under Stephen Smith, Rangers looked a lot more direct, a lot more.
In the first half.
I think we had 20 odd shots, but I don't know if we had 20 shots in Russell Martin's whole time.
Probably not.
And I know that sounds like a joke, but it's probably not far off. Now, you could argue that Rangers need to get more clinical. I'm not going to say that, because if you get 20 shots, you shouldn't be coming away with 1 goal in that period. But what I would say, though, is I think it's something to build on, and I think Rangers need to go. I know people say, oh, there's still 6. It's still 6 draws out of 8. I get that. But the Russell Martin era's over. We need to move forward. And I think Stephen Smith took a good start to what I want to see. Yes, we know that the second half, Dundee United, as soon as they got a foothold in the game, Rangers looked nervous. They went back in their shell. I think the equaliser, it's a poor goal from Rangers' point of view. Decent strike. I think Butland could maybe do better, but I don't want to be too critical, because I'd be more critical of players not closing down shots than I would be a keeper getting beaten. But I don't think it was the most powerful effort, and it seemed to sort of dribble in. Second goal's a stunner. It really is. And it comes after Butland makes a wonder save. To be honest, through on goal, makes
It
a
was a
great
cracker.
save, and then
Really
the
good
guy
goal.
sets it down, and then what a finish. I mean, sometimes you actually just need to go, fair enough. But then I think Rangers respond and get the equaliser quite well. I mean, it's a good run by Moore, cuts it back, Tavernier finishes it quite well. I think Rangers fully merited at least a point. I've said a lot of times that Rangers have drawn this year and they haven't deserved it, but I don't think anyone could argue that on the balance of even the first half, Rangers deserved,
They probably did, yeah.
something of the game. But what would worry me going forward under a new manager, and we'll get to him, there's a mental fragility about Rangers that when they get a setback, so Dundee United score a goal, right? It happens. You're going to concede goals, but you just feel that when Rangers concede one, they can quickly concede two, and they can stop doing all the things that they were doing to get them in the lead. And it's something that this young manager is going to have to really work out. But I have to give Dundee United praise because the first half they played with two in midfield and got absolutely blown apart. Second half they rectified it, put three in midfield and bossed it. And Rangers didn't really get it back until they brought Barron on with about 10, 15 minutes to go, and then that's when Rangers looked good again. So I think Rangers need to look at tactically as well, that when teams change, we need to be quick to change too. So if we move on though, fair play. I think Dundee United, you can't argue that the goals that they scored merited a draw.
Well, fair. Maybe a draw was a fair result in the
end. Kelly 0, Hearts 3. You're not going to believe this, right? But see, for the first 18 minutes, Kelly was a better side by a mile, and then Hearts get a set piece and score. And
all right.
That's the kind of story of Hearts this season for me, that they're just so good at set pieces. They're not a very good team, by the way, to watch. And I know you'll see it next week when you play them, but you need to be worried about set pieces because I just feel like Hearts score a set piece every week. I think they've got, am I right in saying, and this might not be right, but they've got 9 goals for their centre halves this season.
I think you're right.
That is mental. I don't think we'll get 9 goals for our whole front players. You know what I mean? And
that is a crazy stat.
Braga popped up with a couple of decent finishes, but they were good finishes. But at that point, I think Kelly were chasing as well, and yeah. But
I thought Kelly could have done something against them as well. I was really disappointed that they couldn't, but
I don't think it was a 3-0 game though. If you watch that game, Kelly were great for 15, 16 minutes, and then Hearts get a set piece and score, and it really deflated the crowd, and because obviously they don't like Derek McInnes because he left them, and I think if Kelly had got an early goal, it could have been a different game. But it's all ifs, much and maybes in it. But you have to praise Hearts. 7 wins out of 8, 5 points clear at the top, and obviously they have a massive game next Sunday. If they beat Celtic and go 8 points clear, it has to be said that they are.
Me personally, I think if it goes to 8 points, me personally, I don't think we're clawing that back.
Bring it back. But would you now say that they're favourites if you lose next week?
Make them slight favourites. I'd say slight favourites.
Right. I mean, I know that they'll lose games. That's going to happen. They're going to lose games when they play any team. You can always have a bad day. But if we move on to Sunday, my honest opinion on it was that Celtic didn't turn up in the slightest.
Wrong team. He played the wrong players. I wouldn't have played some of the players
that have let him down most weeks. That midfield doesn't work. We've seen that.
No, exactly. Clearly, it doesn't work. You've got Ralston on the right. I don't know why doesn't he play Donovan there.
I don't think that was a major issue, Ralston. I think Tierney was
Yang as well. I mean, I'd have started with Forrest. I know he's not the greatest because he's aged now. But
why not Bartolucci? Bartolucci came on and did okay against Motherwell.
Or what you do,
that boy needs to kick on for that.
Aye, or what you do is you play Tenecti on the right because he played there for Tunisia during the international break, and you play Balikwisha on the left.
Yeah.
I don't know why didn't do that either.
Hatate, Negrin thing doesn't work. Why
it's
don't you play Negrin wide right? Because you can do that.
Why not even play McCowan for the start? Play McCowan for the start.
And put Negrin wide over Yang. Come on.
Of course,
Yang should be only coming on for 5 minutes if you're desperate. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
But what I would say though, Dundee again, set pieces, the same against us. I mentioned this earlier in the season. Dundee were shocking against us, but every set piece they looked like they were going to score against us. And I felt in the first half it was the exact same. That when they get set pieces, they look dangerous. But I have to give a bit of praise to the boy Concrieve, right winger. I thought he absolutely destroyed Tierney.
He
And I
did.
know
Tierney shouldn't have played either. I'd have played Sriracha. He shouldn't have played
I,
Tierney.
I don't think I don't think I've seen Tierney ripped that bad as he was for that boy in fact, not just the first half,
Yeah.
the second
And
half
then
too.
later on in the game, he's bringing on Kenny, who has hardly kicked the ball for Celtic.
I just think your subs were just so strange. It's like, imagine any Celtic fan coming out at half time going, right, we're trying to win this game. Right, we're bringing on Kenny and Forrest. Now, don't get me wrong, they're good players, right? But they're
Huh?
no match winners.
I
They're
know.
no the sort of players that go,
Maybe what you should have done. Maybe what they
Bartley's
should
the
have done.
fifth sub he used. I mean,
Like,
why was he not at
start
half time?
start with Kenny, maybe, and then bring Ian Acho on later on.
Yeah,
Because Kenny
the
could maybe
problem
get you
that
a goal for the beginning, and if he doesn't, then you've always got Ian Acho to come on to maybe try and get you a goal.
we all said this in the summer that if you've got an injury to Maida, and don't get me wrong, Maida hasn't been great this season either, but if
No.
you got an injury to him, and obviously he was injured for the weekend, I really don't see a massive threat in that Celtic. I mean, I know
Well,
Ian Nacho can score goals. I do. I think Ian Nacho can score some goals, right?
mhm. Well, I
But
saw Ian Acho go down in the game. Ian Acho went down in the game, and he was doing
mm,
doing this to the pitch, and I thought, oh
yeah,
God, that looks a bad one. But he got up and he was all right, and
okay.
I thought at that point, if he's
I
injured
just,
now, that's us kind of
I
gubbed
just
because we've
genuinely
only got
thought that
Kenny.
Celtic. I think Celtic could have played all day and no scored.
Personally,
Like
for
normally
me,
when I'm watching a Celtic game, right, and think, no, they're 2-0 down, they'll still get two each. Right, I'm always
aye.
thinking, no,
I, wa-
they'll get.
well, I was thinking that at one
But I
point,
watched
but
it and I was just like, they're not going to score. They
no,
don't
the
look like
longer the
scoring.
game went on, it just didn't look. I mean, we were hitting shots and it was bouncing off players' arses and going out for corners and stuff like that,
I
and you
don't
were
get
like,
wrong. I mean,
oh,
he's had a couple where, I mean, in the penalty, you have to say it does hit his face. I understand why it
it
was
wasn't a
given
penalty. I know
because
that.
his arms are, I
As
mean,
I said, it was a penalty. When I
incredible.
was watching it, I thought it was a
Uh,
penalty. And then you see the
and so
replay,
did
it
I. I
clearly
looked at
hits
it
his
real
face.
time. I went, oh, it's
It
hit his
does hit his
hand. And then
face.
I'll go, oh, no, it's actually right
Aye.
in the jaw.
Because he's put his hands up in the air,
I
and
have to
it's
say,
hit
fair
him.
play to the boy. He took it well in the face.
And see if
'Cause
he'd have done that. See if he'd have done that, and it hit his hand. It would have been a penalty, even though it was gone for his face. It still would have
it
been a
could have
penalty, I
been.
think.
Well, it
I think
depends where it hits him, I suppose.
maybe.
But I think Celtic didn't deserve anything out of the game.
Personally, for me, I think now what has to happen with Celtic is he has to look at the players that he is playing and think, are they worthy of getting into this team? And I also think he needs to look at the players that he's totally banished
Do you
and not
think
give a
it's time
chance
for
to.
McGregor to get dropped?
He's not gave players a chance. I'd say, like say, the boy Osmond needs to come into
Mm-hmm.
the squad, maybe Yamada, and maybe even the boy Inamura.
Do you not think though that McGregor needs a bit of a spell on the bench? Triangles
I
or
would say so, but
McCowan sitting?
he's a captain. Your captain very rarely gets dropped.
Yeah, but
I've,
Tavernier's their captain. But and by the way, he doesn't deserve to get dropped because he's one of the only players that scores for us. But if he wasn't playing well, I'd want him dropped.
but McGregor's not playing well, and I do agree with you that I think McGregor does deserve to be benched for a bit
To
because he's
me, a
not
good
playing well.
chance to get him out would be Thursday because it's
But I'm
Strasbourg
trying
at
to think
home.
who
I
would be
think
playing
Engels
there.
could do that game quite comfortably sitting in a European night.
Who would be
But
playing that position? though, I'm thinking
Engels, Engels
Engels.
can do it. Huh? He's physically demanding. He's got a good size to him,
Aye.
good range of passion.
Mhm.
No, for me, yeah, that'd be a very obvious
And
one.
and Nigrin for me still the jury's out on Nigrin. I'm still
I
not
still
convinced
think
by Nigrin.
I think he's a number 10 that's trying to play in Celtic sort of eight, and it's not really
Aye,
working. And I
no,
felt
it's not.
see when Rangers did it with Asgard, see when Russell Martin was trying to use him as a central midfielder.
Mhm.
He looked a bit like that as well. Like I need to be almost touching the striker. Like I need to be in that top end of the pitch to be any good. Because he's not the sort of player that will drive with the ball or anything like that. He's just a good finisher who is good at the end bit of the game, the wee
Yeah.
through ball or the finish. Do you know what I mean? He's not got a player that's going to like drive with the ball like a Hatate or excuse me, or like Engels or McCowan or Bernardo. You've got a lot of options there who could do that,
Mhm.
who are eight, not getting used.
I know.
But yeah, if we move on, no, obviously, that. Well, I think we'll move on to Danny Rohl next. I think because that can lead us into the European games. So obviously, it'll be his first game. But do you think that the off-field issues at Celtic and Rangers are affecting it on-field? Because what I'll say is like I'll speak about Rangers first though, because I thought going to Ibrox, I thought it was going to be like a good atmosphere. I thought it was going to be Russell Martin's gone, the fans have got what they want. Stephen Smith's obviously he's like a Kennedy, a McManus type that played for the club, and you get behind one of your own, but they're still just so negative about Felwell and Patrick Stewart. And I'm not saying that's the reason we drew the game, right? We drew the game because Dundee United scored two fucking worldies, right? Okay, and on top of that, the fact that Rangers weren't good enough. But I do think that it's spilling onto the pitch for me, this negativity. I mean,
I would say so.
in
Yeah.
general, right? Have you ever seen Rangers and Celtic both be this bad, right? Probably
No,
not. But
never.
have you ever seen Rangers and Celtic be this angry at individuals within the clubs?
No.
Probably not as well. So these two things, it can't be a coincidence.
No. And I
I
think
think
myself,
that is
I think
affecting some of the players
it
and the
is.
atmosphere.
And I'm like that about the whole Celtic situation with it. They threw balls onto the pitch at the beginning of the game as soon as the game started, and that disrupts the game right away. I'm
Also,
not
I
saying
think
that. I'm not saying that was a
no,
result
no, it wasn't the
affect the
reason, but
result, but it still must get
it
into
is
the
breeding
mindset of the players.
negativity. It's breeding
Yeah,
negativity. It's breeding the fact that they don't want to be there. They're angry about things. That doesn't exactly make it very easy to then go, come on, let's do this. Like, you can't
they should be
stick
getting
it quick.
behind the team. I know they've
Aye,
got a beef with the board, but get behind the players
exactly.
for
You've got a
the
beef with,
beginning.
and Rangers fans beef with Patrick Stewart. I agree, right? Because the guy's been a bit hopeless, right?
Obviously,
But I think
Thelwell as well.
Fairwell deserves the season to see if these players are any good. Because I think we could
Do
all see with our own eyes that
you know what
Asgard,
I heard?
there's a player in there.
Do you know what I heard today?
So,
I actually heard that Kevin Thelwell's got his coaching badges. So I actually thought he was maybe going to be your manager at one point.
really surprising. But what I would say though is I think he needs to be judged at the end of the season because I think we've got some good players. I don't think you can honestly tell me that Gassama's a bad signing, that Miovski's a bad signing, that Ant-Man is a bad signing, that Rothwell's a bad player. He might not be suited to
No,
us. I'll give you Rothwell. Asgard looks a good player. Yeah, you can
can I?
question some of the defensive ones. Some of them look hopeless, right? But I don't think that he's made 13 signings and they've all been pish. That type of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Where
they
you
can't all be.
expect that sort of
What,
anger.
what
Some
is
of
the
them look all
problem?
right.
What is the
Probably
problem at
result.
Rangers? The problem at Rangers is the fact that majority of their back four are loan signings, and
Exactly.
you've got is there two players I know that are out of contract. That's Tavernier and
Calvin
some
Shooter, both out of
at
contract
the
with
end of the
Colour.
season. So there you go. Your whole defence pretty much could be away
The
at the end of the
only
season.
the only defender on our books that got a contract is Fernandez, and we haven't seen him.
And he's no kicked a ball.
Apart from against Alba, I think you can wonder.
Has he been in any squad at all? Apart from Allo?
Alba and St. Mum, remember when Giga was suspended? Remember
Aye.
when we played the game to make sure he wasn't suspended for the old
Yep.
firm? And we
Yep.
played, but hopefully with the new manager coming in, but I just think
That's
that
what I want to ask you. That's what I want to ask you.
yeah,
What is your thoughts? Are you happy with the new manager, or I take it he wasn't your cup of tea? Didn't you want him?
he wasn't my first choice. My first choice was always Muscat. In fact, he was my third choice when it appears he was Rangers' third choice as well. But
But
Muscat was
apparently
the one I
he
wanted.
distanced himself for the job. He didn't want it.
Well, I don't think he didn't want it. I don't. I think he felt he wasn't going to get it because they were going down the Muscat route, and that's fair enough. But to me, it's very obvious that Rangers wanted a head coach from this. Well, I say
Well,
Rangers.
they've got one
Aye.
obviously
Fairwell
because
wanted a head coach. He didn't want a Martin. He didn't want a Muscat or a Gerrard who would come and tell him what for.
Can I ask you something? I want to know your opinion here, or what you think of this. I mean, it's clear. It's clear to see that when Gerard was speaking to the American owner guy,
Mm-hmm.
and the what's his name, Paragrag Marat, is that his name?
Yeah. Yep.
The talks were going really well, and it was positive and all the rest of it. As soon as he spoke to Stuart and Thelwell, it all fell flat. Same way
Including
Muscat.
Muscat.
Muscat was the same, and it all fell flat
Yeah,
again.
and they
What do
tried
you
to
think? What
pretend
do you
it was
think's going
about.
on there?
Well, I think it's that they want a structure. They want that Fairwell, identifies the players. The head coach signs off on it, but the head coach's job is basically to coach the players.
But it sounds to me as if they just want a yes man. But basically,
Yeah,
Thelwell will go, "This is who you're getting. You're taking them. If you don't
and
take
it
them,
sounds
then
like they've
so be
went
it."
down the route of someone who is more of a yes man. I'm not saying that Danny Rohl isn't a competent coach. He probably is, but at 36-year-old, is he going to turn around and go, "Who's this Waller for telling me what to do?"
I actually
Probably not.
think John Barnes was 36, I think, when he took the Celtic job.
But what I would say though is this guy's got some good coaching credentials. No one can argue that. I mean,
I
if
think he
you're
was
a,
anyway.
if you have been at Germany and Bayern Munich, Leipzig, as a coach, not as a manager. We know that.
Who's he managed? Just Sheffield Wednesday's managed?
Just Sheffield Wednesday is the only one, but he has been assistant to Ralph Hassan, who taught Southampton, and he's also helped with Hansi Flick at Germany. So he obviously knows. He's obviously good contacts in the game. He's obviously quite a well thought of coach. But for me, the problem isn't that. I mean, I think he'll coach this team very well. I think
But the problem's Thelwell. Thelwell will want him to take English players for the English game.
Whereas he might be looking at you want young Germans and young.
I know that.
Want to scour the globe.
But then what if Thelwell doesn't want that?
This guy's clearly just a head coach. So, do you know, I would be doing if I was him. See if there's a bad result, I would just go speak to Kevin.
Yep.
Yeah, my job to coach the players.
Exactly. Kevin Thelwell's the head of recruitment. He brings the players in. I just coach them.
I'd just go. If anyone questions their performance, I would just go, "Did you think you looked badly coached?" And if they say no, just go, "I'd pass it on to Kevin then."
Yep.
But I think it seems like they've got a type of manager that they wanted. But by the way, that doesn't mean that the guy isn't a good coach, because he could be.
Right.
And he's clearly well thought of.
He might be. Well, we just need to wait and see.
So, if we go on to the European games, I suppose we'll start with Rangers because I think it's the first one up. Away to Brann.
Is that an early kick-off, that one?
Aye, 5:45. It's obviously a tough place to go. You know that from Bodo Glimt. Go to Norway. It won't be nice. It'll probably be a plastic pitch. It won't be fun.
And it'll be freezing.
Be cold. But I don't know why, right? I think Rangers are going to get a 2-1 win. I don't know why.
Bold prediction,
Maybe a new manager bounce type thing. That does happen. It doesn't always happen, but it does sometimes happen. And I also think that if Rangers are going to get into the playoffs for this, they need to start picking up wins.
Well, of course they do. Same with Celtic. Celtic need to start picking up points as well.
I think Rangers just need to win. I'm not going to say here that I think Rangers are going to blow everyone away and be amazing and look like the finished article, but I think they'll sneak a win, 2-1. But I think that might be because I don't know that Brann are that good, and I don't know that Rangers are that bad either. I think it might just be.
They might win. They might win because of that new manager bouncing or that kind of carry on.
And actually, with Celtic, I'm going to go the same score, but 2 Celtic.
2-1 to Celtic. 2-1.
2-1 to Celtic. So I think Stroom have got a goal on them. They scored a couple against us, but
you're more confident than me.
Yeah, but I think Celtic rarely, they rarely lose 2 in a row. They tend to always bounce back. Even when they lost to Braga, they did beat Motherwell.
I'm just thinking though, what does he do for the European game? He can't go with the same 11 again. And do you know what else I'd do? I mean, I don't blame Schmeichel for any of the goals at the weekend, but I would start to fade in Sinisalo at some point. He's got to start playing him.
Yeah, I mean, I keep Schmeichel for maybe Rangers and maybe the Hearts game, but there's no reason why you couldn't go with Sinisalo on Thursday.
Of course, I would go well.
And I think you've got a midweek going before the Rangers one.
Falkirk, is it?
Falkirk. Ideal one for Sinisalo.
Celtic Park, that one, eh?
Yeah. But I think Celtic will find a way to win as well. And they'll both sort of kickstart their European campaigns. But by the way, there's another disastrous result round the corner for any of them. I can see it coming. I don't expect Rangers to go on this 6 or 7 match winning run or any of that anytime soon.
Celtic Hearts on Sunday's a big potential flip up.
We'll obviously speak about that more on Friday, but that is massive.
Of course it is, yeah.
Well, what do you think about AIK Aberdeen? I think Aberdeen have done well to win their 2 games, but I think...
Is it at Pittodrie or away?
No, it's in Athens.
Right, well, Athens. Oh, well... I think that'll be a tough one for Aberdeen. I don't
probably think AIK are the biggest scorer, so I'm going to go... Jesus, I'm going 2-1 again. I'm going to go 2-1 again, but the AIK...
To AIK. So I'll go...
2-1 to Celtic, 2-1 to Rangers, but 2-1 to AIK against Aberdeen.
I'll go 3-1 to AIK against Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen will score, but I think they will still get beat.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. But
I think Celtic probably, but should hopefully sneak it 2-1. Hopefully, same as yourself. I'm hoping that because I think we'll concede because we concede by set pieces all the time. If they get a set piece, we're all over the place. And obviously, Rangers with the new manager bounce, they could possibly get a result against Brann.
I just got a feeling. I mean, it might be a draw, but I don't think we'll lose. Put it that way. I don't think
another draw. Another draw.
Oh, another draw. But, but no, I think it will be a big weekend next week because I think obviously you've got Rangers Kilmarnock, and obviously it's a big moment for Danny Rohl, obviously playing in front of the home crowd for the first time because they're going to be
Aye.
expectant no matter what. But I'll always say that Rangers fans, they aren't backing the team very well now, but if the new manager comes in and starts winning, they'll love him. Let's be honest.
No, that's
They,
it.
they loved Michael Beale when he was winning. They only didn't like him when he was losing. You know, it's as simple as that. Do you know what I
Aye.
mean?
But
Everyone
there is
loves a star
certain managers,
manager.
certain managers get away with it if they've got kudos in the bank with
Yeah,
having won a league
I don't
title
think
or
this guy's
something.
going to have any kudos,
No, of course he's no, because
which
he's
is a
just in the
shame
door.
because he doesn't deserve to be under pressure right from
It's
the
not his
start.
fault. It's not his
No.
fault.
Because, by the way, I think I said to him on the other podcast, I'm pretty sure this guy will go on to have a great career. Just,
Yeah.
I'm not 100% convinced it'll be at Rangers.
Yeah,
But
we'll wait and see.
that's not a slight on him. I think that it could just be the circumstances that he comes into. But
Mm.
I'll always say, if you win games, the fans will back you.
Yep.
He, I think, I can't remember the exact fixtures. In fact, it must be this. So I think his first four games, right, are away to Brann, home to Kelly, away to Hibs, Celtic, in the cup.
Right. In the cup.
That's massive. I
Well,
mean,
it is.
and he has to, at a bare minimum, and I mean a bare minimum, he has to not lose in Europe, win the two
Yeah.
league games.
No asking much, eh?
I think he has to. No, in fact, I'm even harsh on that. He has to beat Kilmarnock. We have to start winning home games. I think if he drew with Hibs, but he has to compete with Celtic and maybe even beat Celtic. He has to do something that I don't. That's a good question. Who's the last Rangers manager to win against Celtic on their first game? That's a good one. That. Let's go
What,
back.
Rangers man, was it no Walter Smith? No,
No, could have. Ali McCoy.
I
He
don't
won
know.
4-2. Naismith double, if I remember rightly,
Maybe. I don't
in
know.
a mad
Can't remember.
game where he might have got red.
Can't remember.
I can't think because Gerrard didn't. Gerrard lost 1-0 at Celtic Park. He won his first Ibrox one, obviously. I know that. Clement didn't.
I did,
Beale,
but I'm pretty
Beale
sure. Wait a
didn't.
minute. Did he win his first one, Ibrox one? Because did we? Who was the
Ah,
manager when Sinclair
because he
scored
beat
at Ibrox and we won 2-1? Who was the manager then?
what one was that? The Edward one.
That might have been because Stingray scored. Sinclair scored the winner, 2-1.
Yeah, I
Sure, it
think
was
that was
2-1.
later. No, but his first one was the Ryan Jack one. That was his
Right.
first.
Aye.
But he obviously lost at Parkhead to Celtic, Ibrox to Celtic. But no, I'm trying to think. I think it's McCoy. I really do.
Mm.
I can't think of one after that. What
Yeah.
Warburton? Maybe
Maybe
technically,
Warburton. Oh
technically
no.
he did
Aye.
the
Because
cup.
it's the cup against Isle, isn't it? Aye.
I'll give Warburton that. I mean, it was a penalty. I take that right now.
Penalties. Don't
If you
want
offered
another
me
penalty
penalty,
shootout. No
yeah, if you
chance.
offered me penalties right now, I'd take it because
Yeah.
Michael doesn't look like he can save much at the minute, and Butland, to be
Mm.
fair, is still he's looking like a best player. I'd take a penalty shootout right now.
Don't want one. No.
But
Avoid at all
I've got to
costs.
admit, do you know it's very weird though, looking at it right now? You could be going into that game with teams who aren't in the greatest of form because
I
St
know.
Mirren have lost a couple. Motherwell, let's see how they bounce back from a defeat.
Mm.
Rangers and Celtic just looks so it's like
Oh,
tit and tatter, isn't it?
it's going to be a long. It's going to be a long, hard season. I tell you.
But no, it'll be interesting. But we'll obviously reconvene on Friday and we can review the three European games and speak about the massive weekend with Heart Celtic headline and all.
Yep. Yep.
So I think we'll leave it there.
Yep.
Have a good week.
Yep. You too, mate. Cheers.
Yeah,
Thanks again.
see you later.
Right. Bye bye.
Bye.